Yes? No. Yes. All right. Great. Only starting off the semester 5 minutes late. Um, Hey everyone, thanks for coming today. We'll just do a class overview today, so it'll be relatively short, which is why I wasn't rushing to go into lecture or anything. Um, so welcome to um, Intro to IO Psychology. If that's not the class you're supposed to be in, then um, I don't know, leave. First, I will introduce yourself to me and myself to you. I'll go over to class goals, the schedule, how this class is administered, which is something I've been working on for a little bit. It's not your typical class. Some of you may have heard that before, which is why you may or may not be in here. We'll go over to class assignments, and then I will take any questions. As you can see, this is recording. Nope, you can't see that, but it is recording now. So this will be posted, everything, later, so you can watch it, so you don't have to be scrambling and taking notes and everything. Also, the slides I'm presenting are already on Canvas. Um, Everything, the content of the class is up on Canvas. I just need to mess around with the due dates and everything. So a little bit of patience there because the semester got started before I wanted it to. All right, so hi, I'm Dr. Visa. I got three kids. I, we had our first kid when I was getting my PhD in industrial organizational psychology at the University of Central Florida. And there I researched things like teams, like high stakes teams. How do Army teams, how are they resilient? Also like space teams, like we're going to be sending astronauts to Mars. So you're going to be putting these people into a compact little space for like 3 months. How are they going to get along and not kill each other? So those are the things I studied there and continue to study now. After I graduated with my PhD, I did a dual postdoc at Purdue and UPenn. There, I kind of shifted a little bit and focused my research on worker well-being. We had our second show, Emmy, which is right there. And so that has worker well-being has become a theme of my research overall. So everything that I do has a worker well-being flavor to it, whether it's teams or commuting, which we'll get to in a second, or anything. The ultimate outcome for me is always worker well-being. And so that's what influenced me there for my research. And now I'm assistant professor here at Georgia Tech. We had a third child, Willow, right there. And here I started studying role transitions. That's like, how do you switch from work to home? The reason why I started studying role transitions here in Atlanta is because I live out in Lawrenceville, and my commute sucks. And I looked into the research, and nobody was doing research on commuting. And so one of the ways I look at commuting is through the lens of role transitions. So how do people engage in work mode and out of work mode and into home mode, for example, which has been great because, COVID hit, which was not great. But people need to engage in these role transitions even when they're working remotely. And so allows me to have a lot of flexibility in my research. We also have two TAs. I'll let them introduce themselves. We have a graduate and an undergraduate TA in this class. So Sadie, do you want to start? Ooh, Kinsley? Cool. So yeah, great. And I will figure out what you all will be doing in this class. I know what you all are doing, but TAs specifically, I need to figure that out. but they'll be here to help you. We'll have office hours, all that jazz. So, yeah, so the class goals are to learn about IO Who's heard about IO psychology before signing up for this class? That is more than I expected, which is great. But basically, IO psychology is like we spend 90,000 hours of our lives at work, like physically at work. That doesn't like the statistic is not based upon like all of the other times in which work is on your mind. So it's not, I'm at home thinking about work. It's not commuting to work. Work is such a central aspect to our lives. I bet you all of you here are here to get a degree so you can do what? Get a job, go to work with other people. It's an essential human experience. So IO psychology is essentially the application and development of psychological principles to the workplace. So you learn all the formal stuff in this class. It'll be like things that are specifically for IO psychologists that really won't affect you in your day to day. Like you'll learn about job analysis, which is like, all right, what does a barista do? And what are the knowledge, skills, and abilities that a barista needs? How do you figure that out? What are the tasks that they do? So you learn about like methods that we use in IO psychology to understand those things or identify those things. But that's not going to affect you in your daily life, right? But what may affect you is like teams. Everyone in here is likely going to be working with a team. So how do you get along with your fellow coworkers? How do you stay motivated while you're at work? What is job meaning to you? So how do you maintain your well-being in this crazy work world? And are the assessments that people are using to select me, how do I, think about them? What are they trying to get at? So these things will not only inform you for the content of this class, but will likely have some implications later on in your life. And it's up to you the degree to which you learn about those things and then utilize them in your future careers. So here is the overview of the class. Again, everything's recorded, mic, screen, so don't worry about all of that. You'll notice a couple of things. The first is that we have mental health days, which is just days that we don't have class. I tried to schedule them around times that have traditionally been heavy workloads for other courses, and this is not going to be that course, hopefully. So there's mental health days worked in there. You'll also see that what exam one release and due date, that means that you'll have take-home exams. They're not in class. You're not going to sit here and do stuff. So that's awesome, I guess. And I guess the last major component here is that you'll see you have asynchronous and synchronous days. And so I will get to what that means in a little bit. But this is generally how the class is going to be structured. So the administration of this class. Again, this is something that I've been working on for a little bit. Every single year I get great evals about the administration of this class, and then I tweak it as people sort of evolve. But there's basically these content lectures. So like, here's a lecture on teams. Here's a lecture on job analysis. Here's a lecture on leadership. These things are basically not changing over the course of the times in which I teach this semester or this class. And so why not use an asynchronous lecture to deliver that to you? What that means, it's not a reverse classroom, right? So it's not like, hey, I need to watch these things and then come to class and discuss them. That's the class. That's the lecture. So they're pre-recorded lectures on each topic. I'll be releasing them in groups. So like 2 to 4 chapters at a time. So for example, this first group has 2 chapters involved: Intro to IO Psychology and IO Research Methods. You can watch at your leisure, literally at your leisure, whenever you want. But you should probably stay on schedule, which is provided. Another thing that I do with this class is I'll be making announcements like this, like constantly on campus. So like, hey, chapter 1 is today. If you're keeping up with this class schedule, we're going over Intro to IO Psychology. Here's a link to the lecture, and here's a link to the slides, as well as the quiz. Remember, your quizzes are due on, these dates aren't right. This is from last semester. I haven't made the announcements yet. So for those who are new to the class, blah, 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 please watch the overview stuff. And I will be making these like constantly. So the day before, you'll get like a announcement at like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or something like that, reminding you that it's either asynchronous lecture or synchronous lecture for that day. I want you all to be responsible, but I also don't want to like just shove everything in your face. You got like 17 other classes that you're likely taking. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible with the administration of this class. So content lectures, we'll have 13 of them, all asynchronous. You don't have to show up. So 13 of these classes are asynchronous, which means you don't have to show up to those on those particular days. Does that make sense? We will be meeting, it's not a virtual class, in person for more interactive activities. So we'll have discussion classes, which are synchronous and in person, which means be here in class and we'll talk. Basically, for the discussion classes, we'll create groups based upon your preferences. We'll all be present and have a real conversation about things. I'll go into the details of this in a little bit about what discussion classes are, but just know that they're like interactive discussion classes with everyone in the class, or not, listen to me lecture. And they're based upon, the discussion classes are based upon what you want to talk about too. So for example, there'll be like, here's a group of lectures on job analysis, something else and something else. What do you want to talk about related to these topics? We will aggregate what everyone is saying and then produce some discussion points, so jumping off points to have a discussion on those things in class. There'll also be a debate class, a couple of debate classes. So this is your like main project of the semester. Groups will need to be here. Everyone else needs to be here because there'll be times during the debate in which everyone will be asking the people who are debating a position questions. So everyone, it'll be interactive as well. And then you vote on who wins the debate. So that'll be fun. We also vote on what topics we'll be talking about during the discussion classes. So yeah, I will be sending out too many, probably, at points for you, reminders about what's going on with the class, but for some, it's just enough. I'd rather send out reminders that are linked to the people who are just enough rather than the too many. So there will be class assignments too. So we'll cover those now. So there'll be quizzes. These are your standard quizzes. Honestly, they're like grade buffers. They're like 10 questions, I think. And they are super simple declarative knowledge statements that you can either get from the textbook. By the way, we do have a textbook. I'm still using the 2017 version. And if you ever heard of Library Genesis, use that to get the textbook. Please don't spend lots of money and support these large corporations. They're just trying to take your money for the textbooks, please. But if you want to spend like $70 or more on it, feel free. But the content of these quizzes will be from the textbook. There'll be about 10 questions per. There'll be multiple choice, declarative knowledge statements. And they link up with the content lectures. So we have 13 content lectures on various topics. We have 13 quizzes related to those. They will be released with all of the lectures. So like, as you can see here, this is our schedule. You'll have quizzes 1 and 2 due at a particular time. And then around the 21st, I'll release the chapter 4, 5, and 6 content lectures, right? And you can take it any time from the 21st until the 2nd of February at 11:59 p.m. I recommend you stay on target with whatever schedule that I've provided you, but exams in different classes happen. Like crises happen. So this is literally here to help you be flexible with your learning. I feel like the best learning happens when you're motivated to learn. So you can be sitting in class, listen to me lecture about a thing and not learn anything, or you can be like, all right, it's time to listen to it. I'm ready to listen to my lecture. Let's do it. I'm gonna listen to it at home and at 1.5 speed, probably. Um, so again, this is all about flexibility. I would prefer you sticking to the schedule, but like I said, I understand that some situations may be less ideal. So yeah. Any questions about the quizzes? Yeah, it's one try because they're like super. They're it's a grade buffer. It's like 130 points grade buffer if you and I don't think there's a time limit, but even if there was, it won't take you that long. Okay. Other questions? Cool. Exams. So there's two exams. One on the I side of things, which is the intro to IO, research methods, job analysis, criterion measurement, performance appraisal, predictive performance selection, trained development. So I side, I mean industrial of the industrial organizational side. So all of these topics will be covered in exam one. It's not cumulative. So exam two will just cover the O side as well. There'll be take-home exams, no browser lockdown. There'll be open book, open lecture, whatever you want to use. There'll be type of multiple choice questions. Again, I use these declarative knowledge sort of multiple choice question as grade buffers. They'll be similar to the ones that you get in your quiz. So if you just take a little bit of time, you should be able to get at least a C from most of the multiple choice questions. And then it'll be short answer questions. And this is the thing the students hate the most, but it's the thing that I have come up with how I've developed this class. So you'll have like 6 short answer questions. And you choose 3 and you answer all 3 of them. So whatever you're most interested in or what you most know about, that's what you choose from. So it'll be like 6 and you answer 3. There'll also be like other sort of like, walk through your career sort of questions that's tailored to you. So there'll be a lot of personalization to the content of these exams. And yeah, that's about it. This is the grade differential right here in these short answer questions. Like if you're doing well on these, you get an A in this class. If you're not, you get like a C, B, whatever. Questions? Thoughts? Yeah.
Still gonna be classy. You can show up.
Yep.
It's just like completely on.
Whatever you want to do. I mean, I'll be here, but you don't have to. I mean, I'll be in my office. I won't be sitting here for a class. But yeah, for those asynchronous classes, you don't have to come. That was really a perk when they scheduled me like early in the morning for this class. Not as much now, but still. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. So that's your project. It'll definitely be graded. So I'm covering that next. Yeah. Good question though. Other questions so far? All right. So we'll have 10 debates in this class. And the schedule is here. It's the same as here, but just, with more detail and the topics. And each of these debates have 2 separate sort of sides to them. Which degree has better utility, a master's degree in IO or a PhD in IO? Should we use online panels, so like a MTurk, Prolific, like, just people filling out surveys for like a couple cents? Are those actually good research participants? Or should we like just dismiss them all the time? So we have a bunch of different topic areas, and I'll the way that we'll have like a debate class day. Where we'll be covering, this is synchronous, it's on the 15th. We'll be covering everything in detail, super detail about this assignment. You'll be meeting your group members. You'll be like talking about it. You'll be picking sides. You'll be filling out like forms about like, hey, this is our team. This is how we're going to communicate, things like that. So if you have questions about the debate, I can totally answer them, but you'll also probably get a lot more detail later on. So like I said, this is your project essentially for the semester. There'll be two separate forms in which you'll be graded on. One is your debate submission form. This is just to make sure that you're preparing well for the debate. So in this debate submission form, I'll ask you to prepare your speeches and submit them to me before the debate happens. I'll also ask you to think about what the other side is going to say, right? There's two sides to this argument. What are the other sides? What are some questions that the other side is going to potentially attack you with, right? And what are your rebuttals to them? So just to critically think about your side of the debate. That's what this debate submission form will be. That's what you'll be graded on here, and it'll be due before the debate. And then there will be your debate evaluation form. So that's how well you actually, I don't want to say present the material because I'm not grading you on like stylistically, like how you present it. It's what you say, right? It doesn't matter if you have a sheet up there, everyone gets nervous. I'm not grading you on like the way in which you present the material. I'm grading you on what you say. So you can stand up here if you're really nervous about making a speech about something and read off of it, and you will not get deducted any points. It's fine. But like, how well did you lay out your argument? Was there like a clear structure to your argument that you had? Did you follow through on your points? Like people oftentimes like to make sweeping statements and then don't back that up with data. You'll need to like lay out that argument and then also back that up with data or points that you have. How clear were your points? How strong were your points? How strong were your rebuttals that people had? Did you efficiently use your time? Basically, did you stick to the time that we have? So I'll provide these forms. You'll get all of these forms. You'll get the rubric of what I'll be grading you on before we even start. Again, and there'll be bonus points. So like I said, you'll be voting on the winner. So you probably shouldn't vote if you're participating in the debate. I have no way of stopping you. But the rest of the class will vote on which side wins. And if your side wins, you get that percentage of bonus points. So if you get 60% of the vote in the class, you'll get 9 bonus points. If you only get 40%, so you lose the debate, you'll still get bonus points. You'll still get 6. So you're getting bonus points no matter what. But depending on how well you present your material and how well you convince the class that your side is right, that'll determine how many bonus points you get. There's also bonus points for like style, so use of humor, dressing up, making it feel like a formal debate. So this assignment is based upon like these Oxford debates that you can find online. And so if the more you make it like that, like I've had people have like entry music, like they'll play and then they'll walk in like it's a wedding reception or something during the debates. So the more fun that you have with it, the more bonus points you'll get as well. And likely the more you convince your audience that you're right, because style often matters over substance for whatever reason. All right. Any questions before I get into a little bit more details about the debate assignment? Oh, okay. So there'll be two sides. Like I said, there's a proposition and opposition for each of the debate topics, but you'll be one group. It'll be one group of 5 or 6 students split into half, so 2 or 3 students on each side. How will you get the information that you'll use in your debates to support your arguments? Well, there's primarily 2 ways. In the debate overview document, which I'll provide to you, you'll have articles that you can read that present either information about the debate topic or particular sides on that debate topic. But I will also be linking you up with IO psychologists who are in the field right now who volunteer their time to talk to you. So you'll have like 2 or 3, maybe 30-minute interviews that you will conduct, and you'll ask them about, you know, questions that you have on the debate that you may be looking to support your argument. The thing is, your whole group, so both the proposition and opposition, are interviewing that person at the same time. So it also gives you hints on what the opposite side is doing. So it'll be up to you to organize all of this, but yeah, they're volunteering their time. These are experts in the field at various universities, people in practice, like your tech firms like, Google or Meta or X, or State Farm or things like that, like people who are actually doing this in the field. It'll also be like really high tier academics, like people at Rice University who the National Academies asked to speak on this topic. So you'll be interviewing them depending on their interest in the field. I'll give you their bios and their contact information at a later point in time. They're signing up now. They're volunteering and then seeing who wants to do what. But yeah, that's how you'll get it. You can also look at outside sources if you want to do your own little literature review. But the main way is, the articles that I provide to you and the interviews with these professionals. So how do you get into groups? I'll be assigning you into groups on January 15th before class time. So what I'm going to do later today is send an announcement via Canvas and asking you to fill out a form that's like what debate topics interest you the most, right? And then I will match you based upon your interests in this topic. They'll be due probably before class on the 14th. And so just to give people time to either add or drop this course. And then you will also, you're not basing it upon this, your preferences based on this. I'll provide you with the debate overview document, again, which will have all of the information about the debate, so you can have research the debate topic a little bit more than just the questions that you'll be debating. The January 15th class, that's our debate class here. Boom. We'll meet in person like I talked about before. We'll review the assignment in even more detail. I want you to be as comfortable as possible with this assignment. I know there's a lot of moving parts. So that's why we're spending the whole class just to learn a little bit more about the assignment and to get to know your group members. And I'll also introduce you to Turning Point during that class. Turning Point is, if you haven't used it before, is what we use to vote. So you'll be using that to vote on debate days as well as discussion days. And I'll assign you interview IO psychologist or 2 by the 22nd. You'll reach out to them to interview them. And this is super important. Make sure to do readings, like come prepared to like ask them questions. And yeah. What happens on debate day? Well, we'll all show up because we want to get good grades in this class. I'll make some opening remarks for about a minute. I'll just like, hey, here's the debate. Here's kind of like an overview of the topic that we're talking about. Then the first speaker from the proposition will try and convince you of stuff for 4 minutes. Then the first speaker from the opposition will come up and try and convince you of their side for 4 minutes. Repeat for the second speaker, and then debate from the floor. That means that's when the rest of the class are asking everyone in the debate, both the proposition and opposition, questions that will convince them to vote for them. Then you have like 2 minutes final remarks, you vote with Turning Point, and then the next debate group goes. And we follow the structure every time. Cool. Any questions about the debate assignments? I know this one's a lot. Cool. Discussion questions. So 4 times throughout the semester, I'll be asking you to provide discussion questions on a particular group of lectures. So your first discussion questions will be on job analysis, criterion measurement, and performance appraisals. They'll be on Canvas. You ask your discussion question online. If it's not dumb, then you get 10 points. So these discussion questions are not like based upon the content that we cover on that course. It should be something that you are particularly interested in outside of what the content lectures cover. So, some of the content lectures don't cover anything about COVID. So what does effective leadership look like in a remote work situation? How are job search behaviors affected by the pandemic? How do you create a safe space for discussing social justice issues in the workplace? We won't cover that in the content lectures, but this is your opportunity. That's a workplace thing. So it's the opportunity to ask a question around that. How can IO psychologists contribute to police reform, techno-ethic? These are just examples of questions that you can ask. It could be just about anything. And so part of the TA assignments and my assignments are kind of like before the lecture, synthesize everything, create groups of sort of 3 or 4 major groups of questions, so themed questions. And so we'll be synthesizing those questions, and you will pick from the 3 or 4 that we produce, 2 that we'll be talking about that day. So you'll be voting. That's your participation right there, right? Voting on what we're talking about, and we'll actively discuss those questions throughout the lecture that day. So those are discussion questions. So basically, at the beginning of class, present 3 or 4 themes that arose. Class will vote. That's 15 points right there on the 2 discussion classes for today, and then we chat about things. Usually it doesn't follow it exactly like this, but what we do is we break you into small groups first, and then you talk about it, and then we'll have a class discussion for like 20 minutes on each of the 2. So voting, I'll cover a 2-minute summary, like an overview of the discussion question theme. You all break into small groups for 10 minutes, sort of talk about these things, your perspectives on them, and then the whole class will talk about it for 20 minutes. Then we'll switch to the second one. So, I mean, these things are kind of off the cuff, so I'll be learning with you as well for some of these. So should be relevant to the topics that we covered, and you'll learn more participation points by participating in these lectures. Speaking of participation, 70 general participation points that I'll be like making notes of throughout the semester. Ask clarifying questions online, answering clarifying questions, interacting with the discussion questions, asking questions during the synchronous sessions, voting during debates, things like that. So this is like kind of also a point buffer as well. Grade breakdown. Like I said, there are 13 quizzes, 10 points each, 130 points total. Oh, I do the drop the lowest, replace it with the average thing too. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't think I did. Exam 1 and 2, 100 points each. The debates, like I said, your major project of the year, there's 200 points. Discussions are 100 points, so that is 40 points from just asking them online, and then 60 points from coming to class and talking about them. And then 70 points for general participation. Why 70? Because I wanted to be a round number. The extra credit, SONA, always up to 20 points. Written efforts, movie reviews, article critiques, summary of departmental talks, if we have any of those going on, which I think we'll do. Other opportunities outside of the 20 points. So the debate extra credit, like I talked about, that's your style points and your other things related to the debate. Maybe some quiz questions, definitely some quiz questions. Like during the exams, you'll definitely have extra credit questions there. Catching lectures, quizzes, mistakes, and impromptu things. For example, last year we had like your favorite fast food chain for like your 2 a.m. fast food because someone mentioned something really weird. I'm like, that's not what people do. That's not where people go at 2 a.m. And so we had people fill it out for like a couple of extra credit points and then embarrass the kid who had the weird thing in which they go at 2 a.m. But he's doing fine. So yeah, speaking of doing fine, student well-being is super important to me. I'll be asking you how you're doing throughout the semester. For example, I'll also have like a mid-semester evaluation in which I'll like how you doing, how's it going, what can I change now, what do you think I can change in the future, sort of things. I'll be available, before class time, but generally anytime. Just send me an email and we can figure something out. And that's the way like this class is built. Like it's built to facilitate learning, but also like flexibility and autonomy with your other courses that you have. One of the things that we'll learn about in class is job crafting. So job crafting is essentially having autonomy or control about like how you do your job. And I've taken that sort of same principle with some a little bit of deviations to this class. So you're crafting your learning experience a little bit in this class about when you learn, not what you learn, because I'm be talking about it a little bit about what you learn with the discussion questions and everything. But that's why I built this class the way it is. So you can optimize your learning and also have some autonomy and flexibility over it. Built-in mental health days, like I talked about. And then lecture breaks. So like my lectures are not like hour and 15-minute streaming me in front of a PowerPoint lecture. You'll have lecture breaks built within it. I tried to make it as engaging as possible, and hopefully they are. Frequently asked questions. Why post recorded lectures? Yep, I'll post everything by group. Will I post other classes? Like I won't be posting the debate and discussion classes. You need to be here for that. Do you need to attend? Yeah, 13 classes off. I hope you do. Yeah, come to the synchronous lectures in person ones. Will there be curving? No. Will I be answering emails at 2 a.m.? Probably not. Oh, I need to update their ages. They're 5, 8, and 11 now. But, I'm getting any sleep that I can. I also live out in Lawrenceville, which means I wake up super early to be here so I can beat the traffic. So sleep is important to me. If I don't respond in 24 hours, please ping me again. So, like, I get lots of emails, and if I don't respond to you within like a 24-hour period, just ping me again. I will take no offense to it. We all get like tons of emails. I'm pretty sure it's the same for all of your other professors, but for me specifically, I will not be offended if you send me a follow-up email because I will forget and it will get lost sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. What is one question I should ask before emailing me or Yuhua? Yuhua is the TA from last semester, so our TA's sitting Kinsley here is on the syllabus. If you have a specific pronoun, let me know. I will use it. If you get 89.44444% in this class, you will be getting a B, though. There are so many opportunities to like move your grade up in this class, so there will be no curving. But if you really want an A, you still get a B, if that's where you're at. Are there more frequently asked questions? I don't know. Ask me now. Yes. No. Good question. Either. I get Outlook or Canvas stuff in Outlook. So, other questions? I think right now we have enough, if everyone here stays in the class, to do the 10 debates without a problem. But I would encourage you to encourage your friends who are thinking like, oh, what class should I take? This one. Take this one. It's a good class. It's the easy class, uh, generally speaking. And I think it's a fun class. So if you have students that are like, hey, what class should I take? Ask them to sign up for this one. I think they'll enjoy it. But I'm biased. Um, other questions? No? All right. So that will be it. You'll be seeing lots of announcements later from me. And our next two classes are asynchronous. So you do not have to be back in this room until the 15th. I live in Lawrenceville, yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. It's a